Thomas. I feel I should warn you. This grab bag is based on scientific fact on theories that have appeared in national magazines. Yes, this is the grab bag. I'm Thomas, and I'm here with Mike. And if you're kind of confused on our little intro there, it's my little homage to the movie, one of the movies we talked about on our podcast this week, Matinee. We talked about that and the Burbs, which are both by Joe Dante. And so it's our podcast is sort of our love letter to Joe Dante and his movies, especially Burbs and Matinee. And I've talked long enough. How are you doing, Mike? I got you right when you're sipping your drink there.
Yeah, no, I am doing very well this week. Yeah, I really enjoyed our main show, so hopefully it's linked over there or somewhere around
There.
there. But anyway, all silliness
I feel
aside,
like you're gonna start directing planes or something.
well, I don't know. I felt like I was going to take off like a helicopter there for a second, so who knows? But in any case, yeah. So we covered our main show, which was very enjoyable, fun romp into the '80s, early '90s,
Hmm.
and it's definitely, if you are a longtime fan, it will spawn us to create other shows based on Joe Dante because there's a body of work there that is amazing. And with that being said, this is our grab bag this week, and we've got quite a list going off here. Where did you want to lead off at, my friend?
Oh, my semi regular thing of Chinese fortune cookie fortunes. I
Absolutely.
have it right here. Now this one I'm kind of confused on, and I got the small brain, so you might have to help me out here, uh, because these
I might
oh
be
man,
able to help you,
and
but my brain is only smooth, so I'm just
and
kidding. But
and this is a paragraph. Let's see, take a look there. It's a little it's a bit meaty there. You see?
geez, the Chinese fortune cookie novel there.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it says, "Look out behind you." No, okay. No, it says, "Give what you have, uh, semicolon, to someone. It may be better than you dare to think." That makes sense to you?
Maybe I don't know. They're kind of like tarot cards or astrology readings. They're very generic up to a point. So maybe that means you get what you give, or
I
you give
I
what you get. I don't know, something like that.
I think the semicolon's out of place because it says, "Give you what you have, semicolon, to someone. It may be better than you dare think." I think there should be a, instead, take out the semicolon, put in a comma, and do, "Give what you have to someone, comma, it may be better than you dare think." That makes
Yeah,
sense.
I think,
But
yeah, that makes sense. The other way around makes me
yeah,
lost in a sea of confusion.
that doesn't tell you what you're giving, so I don't.
Yeah, I
I'll,
don't know.
I'll give you COVID. It might be better than you think.
That's a perfect example. Yeah, that
I
well, in that vein, we promise to give you a good show.
Yeah,
Of
not COVID.
Yeah, no, we're not in the business of that. Definitely not for sure. But we are in the business of going through this week's headlines, and I saw some of these, and they're spicy to say the least.
Very spicy. Yeah, I got a little spicy this week. I grabbed a few to maybe spice up our dialogue. Now, if you were taking shots every time we say spicy, you may be drunk by the end of this, but yeah. And this is our lovely channel, the first, the last, the Nerdom. We're cracking over 80 videos with this one. I think it's 82. I think
Yeah. This would be number
videos.
82
Yep.
when we publish it here on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, which is the Thanksgiving Eve, as it were.
Mm. Comic Book Wednesday. And then all of our videos are bangers. So if you've skipped some, shame on you. You should go back and watch all of them.
They're
Even
all
if you're not
bangers.
interested in the movies that we're talking about, we're such charismatic, wonderful people. We just make it enjoyable just to watch us. So,
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And with that being said,
and
we go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, oh, just to cap on the Burbs. I wasn't uh, overwhelmingly happy with the movie when I first saw it back in the day, but on this repeat viewing just now, I had a greater appreciation. I think it may be because it's about you know adults and the most I'd watched it several times when I was younger,
Mhm.
maybe being older and having that mindset of an adult and how the how adults still act like children even when they're grown up, that
Sure.
whole goofy being kids and uh wondering about the mysterious neighbor just kind of clicked for me this time around, and I just fell in love with the movie. Another one that I was kind of lukewarm on when I first saw it. I thought it was okay, but didn't blow me over. It was The Big Lebowski, and then
Mm.
on seeing it again, I was blown away, and it's become one of my favorite movies of all time. But when you first see a movie, sometimes you're not prepared for it. Maybe you're in a bad mood, maybe you're
Mhm.
just not in the right mindset. Maybe you were expecting something different, and you get something completely opposite to what you were expecting, and you were kind of thrown off. A lot of times, some movies are bad, and they're bad, and there's no hope for them. But there's some movies on the edge where maybe you weren't really prepared for it. Sometimes it's good to revisit movies and find a greater appreciation for them on a
I agree.
second or third viewing of them.
It's very true. Yeah, no, I definitely feel different way. That's how I've learned actually is a more advanced way of like covering a movie or criticizing it or just just enjoying it too. Going back and seeing it a second time, sometimes they warrant it because they're complicated or nuanced or whatever. But you're right on the
Yeah,
dot for that.
yeah. All
Very
right,
cool.
enough grumbling over movies. Let's get into the spicy news.
Yeah, well, speaking of grumbling over news, we have Mr. Hemsworth made some headlines this week for sure with this and another one.
Yeah.
But like, what's going on here with Mad Genius directors? Just don't quite know what's going on.
Yeah, they yeah, Helmsworth is I guess being very I guess nice about the way he phrases it. He doesn't want to. He's decided that life's too short, and I think this ties into your article. But basically, he's decided he kind of reevaluated things, and
Mhm.
he doesn't want to work with crazy directors, mad genius directors anymore. And if you look at the directors that he's worked with, the only one that kind of stands out as maybe being a mad genius is Waititi, Tiki Waititi, who directed his two Thor movies. And basically, people have told him about mad genius directors like, well, they may be hard to get along with, but they make really great movies. And then with his last movie, Love and Thunder, there, I don't know. Mad may still be there, but Genius is questionable when it applies to that particular movie.
Yeah,
So maybe, mm,
yeah, for sure. Some thoughts on that for sure, incoming for sure. But go ahead.
no, just so I think he just made a movie, prequel to Fury Road with George Miller, who I can't believe we hadn't talked about Mad Max movies yet on our podcast, but that's a maybe a future one. for us.
Indeed.
But yeah, he really enjoyed working with George Miller, who knows what he wants and is very professional about making his movies. And I think he said, more of this, please. I would like this. And I don't think George Miller gets all caught up in messages or any of the nonsense that Hollywood kind of preoccupies themselves with. So yeah, that's I think that's my takeaway from this is that he doesn't want to deal with the Hollywood nonsense that it gets wrapped up with certain directors, and he's being very nice about it and not naming names. And yeah, he's a class act all the way around. Yeah, he's not, and maybe he's not an actor with a huge range, but
Hmm.
what he does is really good.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Yeah, he is always enjoyable to see him on the screen. And although, yeah, I mean, well, Disney films of late are kind of not quite hitting their, money machine printing arc that I think
Right.
they were very much
Yeah.
used to for the first 10 years of the
Mhm.
Avengers.
Yeah, and Thor is a great superhero. He's a classic superhero.
Yeah.
That's a very strong superhero where they've slowly made him into a joke with Love and Thunder. He's the butt of the joke most of the time in the
Hmm.
movie, and that's not what people go to see. They
No.
want to see a Thor movie. With Thor prominently in it, and we probably won't get into it too much, but I think the same feeling is with the new Black Panther movie. I have no desire to see it just because I want to see a Black Panther movie and he's not in it.
Right. Yeah. No. I no.
and and
That
and
goes
uh,
along. Go ahead.
and I understand that the actors passed away, and they
Chad
took that
Boseman.
route
Yeah.
with Chadwick Boseman. And I understand. And I understand the movie that they made, but I'm not interested in a funeral movie. Awake. That's not what I go for a superhero movie. I wish that they'd put their emotions aside and recast it and put a new Black Panther in that. With all due respect, but put in a new character. And much like there was the I'm gonna not know the name of it. There's um a TV show about a decade back about the gladiators.
Uh-huh.
In the first season, the actor passed away, and they recast him for the second season on with the new actor. And when I first heard it, I was like, oh no, how can they go on without that actor? But after I got past my emotions of missing that actor and then going on, I was like, okay, well, it's still a good show, and they replaced him with someone that was similar to him, and
I know
you
what you're
could go
talking
on and
about.
enjoy it,
Yeah.
yeah, enjoy that show. Um, and that's I think that's the way they should have went with this, because we need that strong male character. And with that first movie, I wasn't blown away by any of the supporting cast. They were good, but I didn't having one of them step up in the place of Black Panther just doesn't interest me. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent
No,
there.
no, no. You're good. You're good. I'm going to hop on that a little bit as a tail end of that because we haven't covered Wakanda Forever, and we will revisit it down the line if it merits a significant look at. But I mean, this thing is a stream. We're on a river of content here, and we'll go here, we'll go there. Lately, like we mentioned at the top of the show, Joe Dante and his works. Last month, we kind of fell into a little groove there with a couple horror movies. They're drawing a blank there, but to piggyback on what you're saying, you know, I did not. I saw Black Panther like later on than it when it first came out, and it was fine. It was a perfectly serviceable, good. But I definitely enjoyed aspects of it because it did take. If they would have followed that vein, it did take Marvel in a newer direction that they could have exploited, but they didn't. It is what it is. And they have perfectly good actors on hand that are male and strong. And one of the things that I think I was more into the What If series that we covered last year, it being in the
Mhm.
vein. And there was a episode there where Killmonger essentially became Black Panther and then took over the universe they're in. Um,
Mhm.
and that really kind of put me on the uh, uh, doorstep of my expectation for replacing Chadwick Boseman was Michael B. Jordan, who played Killmonger, and he's such a strong presence on the screen in the original.
Mhm.
And I'm sure I don't
Mhm.
think that I think he's only in a flashback sequence in this one, but and this one being Wakanda Forever. But I think
Mhm.
that it's a missed opportunity. And I'm sure I've heard nothing. I've heard anything horrific about Wakanda Forever, and certainly if you go and enjoy it, good for you. More power to you. We're not here to rain on anybody's parade at all, but
No,
there's this.
we're not the movie police. We won't tell you
No,
what
not at
to
all.
see or
Not at
not
all.
see.
Not at all. But as a fan, as part of the nerddom,
Mhm.
I would have really wanted to see the movie go in the direction of, using what we have, a
Mhm.
Killmonger, but a reformed Killmonger. I think that could have played in very well, but it is what it is, and they make the big bucks, so far be it from us to tell them what to do because we are not. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, to
yeah.
be honest
Disney
with you,
Disney didn't call us to consult with us, so
I honestly,
or
as a
or I,
fan.
or I missed that call, I guess.
Right. Yeah. As a fan, to kind of piggyback that on, like, to be honest with you, like, I felt like I haven't been welcomed or invited to the last several Disney, Marvel, or Star Wars movies or shows. And as a white male Jew, like, I feel like I hate to say that, but it kind of feels like there's an invitation here for a certain, and that's fine. It is what it is, but I won't commentary on that. And I should probably hop off that and go back into our main thing here that Chris Hemsworth also had quite a bit of news this week. Kind of pulling it back center here. So yeah,
Yep.
hey, you know what? If you like Wakanda Forever, let us know. Tell us what you think about that one, or tell us what you
Yep.
think about it,
Yep.
Thor. I was one of the rare people that liked the first Thor movie, kind of like leading back into this a little bit commentary here. But I actually enjoyed that, and that was kind of like the more panned one, as it were. I think that and the second one weren't like great, but
Mhm.
they held their own. But in any
Yep.
case, he unfortunately also, this kind of leads us to the other article that I found this week, which was apparently he is essentially semi-retiring right now to just kind of slow life down because apparently he has you know uh, this this predisposition and like let's be honest, Chris Hemsworth is not a spring chicken. He's not also a Harrison Ford age either, but
Right.
good for him.
Mhm.
Good for him for taking time off. And, you only have this one life. So good for him.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. Mhm.
wish him the best.
Yeah.
And like you said, he is a class
Yeah.
act for sure.
Yeah. And he's I know Marvel's not the doesn't overflow with money to its creators and stars, but I'm
Right.
sure he's gathered up enough of a nest egg to kind of chill and live life for a little while. And who's to cast any stones his way because of that? I'm sure no one will.
No, no, not at
But
all.
yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah, we wish the best for him and his family, and when he's ready to come back, he can come back. If he just wants to, chill, that's cool with us as well.
Yeah, and he's never going to see this, but if he ever does, and he'd like to come on this and talk about everything but movies and life stuff, we would absolutely
Mhm,
facilitate that for sure.
mhm. Yep, yep. Uh, yeah, the open calls out there. So yeah, if Henry Cavill wants to nerd out and talk about his adventures in World of Warcraft, we're all about
Sure.
it. We won't even talk about DC and all that crap. We won't ask you about Witcher or why you left.
We don't care. We don't care. We don't care.
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk about building PCs and gaming and all that
Oh,
cool stuff. But yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. No, for sure. That is
Mhm.
something that at some point, speaking of that, at some point, probably next year, well, if I can afford it, if you can even fund a damn graphics card or whatever, who knows, whatever. But like one that doesn't require the power, it doesn't require its own interconnect from the electric company for your 4090 or whatever. I think that's kind of a passing joke there in the nerd circles. But with that being said, you mentioned Henry Cavill, and boy, I hope so. Well, I don't know about erasing Zod, but I know that Man of Steel was controversial in the time because Superman never kills, and that's kind of like spoiler alert. That's kind of like the where we find our superhero. I honestly think it didn't really diminish him all that much, but I never was like a super huge big mega fan of Man of Steel when it came out. Matter of fact, I never saw it when it came out in the theaters, but I did. It was like one of the ones that it fell into my lap later on, and I loved it, and I've rewatched it many times, and I think that it holds up very well after several years from the dichotomy of you have a clear delineation of good, evil, the dichotomy of man, as it were, between the two characters, General Zod. But what's going on here with the rumor mill and Man of Steel 2?
Yeah, it seems like the rumor is that they want to get back to a more friendlier Superman, with the more traditional slant, and that's what, from what I hear, Henry Cavill, that's the way he wants to portray Superman, is the more traditional superhero, like Superman, maybe not as dark, and like you said, not killing people and whatnot. And if it's a kind of a soft reboot of Superman, I don't think anyone would complain. But yeah, I mean, they've rebooted Batman how many times and how long, and the fact that they're going to keep with the same actor, I think that's what's going to make people happy. They're not going to, unless you're like a diehard Snyder fan. I don't know what the Snyder fans are called. I don't know if there's a moniker for them, but
Yeah, I don't know.
but yeah,
I keep
yeah,
keep hearing about him, but yeah, I would say that first, Zach, he does a very good job with other IP. I don't have a problem with Man of Steel, me personally as a fan, but
no,
I
no,
can see that this was like I think it came out in 2012 or 2014, something like that. But in any case, that was kind of the start of this new thing of like we have to take the character and we have to twist them or turn them or change them or replace them or whatever in a certain kind of way. And this was kind of the start of that era. And I'm glad that we're finally, oh my God, holy cow. Zaslav has been said the DC, the content that they're doing or that they had planned was not going to fly, and he made a lot of cuts, and he came through pretty sharp. And I agree. I think that they have undervalued or squandered certain IPs, not just DC's, but at large. And I think that people out there know what I'm talking about. Um,
hmm
and so it's a good thing that we're rebooting these things and we're taking them back to, again, this goes back to this thing that like where the studios kind of like lost it, I guess, and they lost their way and they thought that the audience wanted it a certain kind of way, and that's just not true. And they have been rendered corrected by Tom Cruise and Top Gun, Henry Cavill in The Witcher, as well as this Dwayne the Rock Johnson, who brought this about, and many other folks. Like where
yep,
the star, how is it that the star knows what the audience wants more than the powers that be? So like that's kind of like a exclamation point on that phenomenon, and this is just the
yeah,
latest evidence of that
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, and and I think studios maybe felt that once they built up an audience, that the audience would stay with them no matter what they did and what how they changed it, which
Maybe.
is obviously not true. I mean, yeah, people
Right.
have their opinions, and there's this thing called the internet with the capital I, and the people will tell you what they think. Yeah, sometimes it's not as well thought out, or Yeah,
Sure.
Harlan Ellison, one of my favorite writers. he's he was famous for saying, "You're not entitled to your opinion. You're only entitled to your informed opinion." Which I don't know if I fully endorse that, but there's something to be said about people thinking first and maybe you know kind of formulating their ideas a little bit
Sure.
better when they talk on the internet. It's better to present your argument in a way that encourages people to listen to you, to understand your position, and maybe
Right.
invite them over to your side, as opposed to attacking maybe someone with the opposing view,
Right.
and just building up that antagonism to where you're both enemies as far as your opinions. And I think the internet with the capital I would be better off with a more of a approach of, hey, let's talk, as opposed to you suck.
Yeah, I think that also kind of underlines a phenomenon more modern day, like with a capital I for sure, like where
Mhm.
um, in normal human communication, we're used to a symbol or a letter or a movement or something meaning one thing, and in reality, it's a lot more complicated than that. Like where it's the closest that we've ever gotten to kind of convey a feeling, so to speak. And that feeling could mean it brings with it its own message, not just positive or negative, but a more complicated expression therein. And I think that studios continue to do this thing, like where they only want to see one thing, and they're only seeing the top of the box, and in
Yeah,
reality, it's a cube,
right.
and it's three dimensional, and it's much more that. Yeah, absolutely, the internet is guilty of. You suck. But yeah, that's why
Yep.
we're here, and we're talking about what we like and what
You
we
suck, and you suck, and you're also a racist and a
right.
sexist and a ageist and a
Everything
all
else.
the ist in the book.
Right. Or a phobe. Don't forget that one. We can't forget that one.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's the phobes. There's the
Yeah, there's
phobes.
the
Yeah, and
shaming doesn't work like that on the big internet, as it were. No, nope.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
What?
it's easier to scuff boots with some another person, as opposed to on the internet, as opposed to in person.
Boy.
That everybody seems to get along a little bit better in person.
Yeah, and boy, with that, with the internet, we've covered this. Definitely had a very
Oh
sharp
yeah,
opinion on this
yeah. I,
particular
I
topic. So,
Yeah, I saw this. I saw this, and I go, "Oh, this has bike written all over it. I
oh my
have to
God.
have to
Yeah.
bring this to the table." Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like a
I
streamer. Yeah, they were approaching streamers about being potential host for G4, and this streamer,
Right.
this particular one, I think it says her name in the article,
Yeah,
but yeah,
let's make sure we give a shout out for that, for her,
yeah,
Miss Click. Let's make sure we properly shout out
yeah,
their
MissClick.
channel for sure.
Miss Clickety Click. Yeah, she. I'm sure she's a fine streamer. I haven't seen any of her streams, but
I haven't
evidently,
either.
and it looks like she was on maybe on Spawncast, which I've seen Spawncast a little bit. That's Spawn Waves podcast that he does every Saturday. A shout out to Spawn Wave. I recommended him a few grab bags back, I think. But yeah, looks like she was on his podcast, and maybe it said this. But yeah, with the fall of G4, she felt that she might be able to dish the dirt a little bit and talk about how on when she was being interviewed as a potential host for G4, they the person interviewing her for the position said, "Why do you think we should cancel Batman?"
Yep.
and to not fully quote her, she said something about, why should we cancel Batman?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Go ahead.
Yeah, like she was like, well, why would I shoo away somebody who's saving me? Essentially, is what she was saying. Because I heard this, it fell across my stream, and I'm glad that you found this. But yeah, so they basically, well, Batman is a billionaire, rich and white. So why would you save him? Like, why should we cancel him? And she's like, well, why would I do that if somebody's saving me? Essentially, like, why would I have a problem with that? Like, that's the wrong thing to
Yeah.
ask, essentially. And like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. To paraphrase her, why should I pull out my checklist and go, "Oh, he's white. No, no. Is he
right,
rich? Nope.
right.
I'm okay. I'll let the guy rob me. I don't want a privileged white man saving me.
What does
That's
that have to do with any damn thing in the universe? It has nothing. I don't.
right, right. Yeah,
This thing, this fascination
yeah,
with this thing, whatever.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yeah, and the guy didn't get the hint and ask her again. Well, what other superheroes would you cancel? And just to make him happy, she said the Punisher, which he goes, good answer. Which is and she she goes, which I wouldn't cancel Punisher either. She goes, I love that character.
right.
But she was just saying what, and then as she hung up with the guy, she thought, "Oh, I definitely don't want this job."
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So yeah, you know, I guess Frost was just a indicator of the mindset that was behind G4. That the whole kind of, I guess, plan that they had for G4 was kind of flawed in the very foundations of what it was going to try to be. So.
Yeah. This is. I want to say this. Very rarely do the fans or nerddom, and this is a very small niche. I recognize. I want to call that out firstly, but like it takes like a spectacular fail for the normal people, the normies, even to the level of normies, to understand how business was conducted or not conducted, because these things fail, like Enron, like today, like the implosion of FTX that we are currently living through right now. Nowadays, we really care about that right now for the show, but
Mhm.
it just kind of shows, like, when
Right.
things fail spectacularly, you can actually kind of see the blueprint. And how I absolutely believe this to be truthful, because you have Frost, and I'm not going to go into pejoratives there. Um, she sunk her own boat, as it were. But you definitely can see, like, where I believe it, that this lines up, that they actually had interviews like this where they asked these
Mhm.
ridiculously stupid questions and hypotheticals, and that was their personality. That wasn't just that question. It wasn't about character or depth or nuance, or like, why do you think Batman should be different, or something intellectually substantial that you want to go into those waters. You have this half-cocked, basically living question, like living stupid question, I would say, in Frost,
Mhm.
and Adam Sessler, and all this thing, like, where this the whole thing of Batman being. See, this is my bad cop hat here, obviously, but fair warning that I'm already into it, and I'll wrap it up here. But basically, that this question is synonymous with this 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 fascination with just, let's just go with stupid. We'll let stupid lead us in that direction, and just go with that. And of course, where does stupid go? Stupid goes all the way to the bottom of the cliff, like, just like G4 ended up. And we've covered this thing, like, which again, stop picking fights with the fans. Stop attacking the fans. Like, stop attacking nerddom, and you won't
Mhm.
have problems. Like, and you have said this. You want to go back to mad or genius? Like, this is sheer genius, that I agree with you. Is there are so much materials out there, and storylines that already exist, that can check every other box known to man, and satisfies the general audience. Holy crap! Because you're not going to make money over the long term if you carve off things, and you make us land into a cul-de-sac in suburbia where it dies. Anyway, whatever. Like I could
Right.
go
Yeah.
on, but yeah, sorry. You're
Yep.
definitely right. It definitely fired me up for sure.
Yeah, I knew it would light a fire under there, but yeah.
Yeah, I just like what, Adam Sessler, shut up. Just shut up. Like you know what? Don't shut up. Keep talking because the more you
Yeah.
talk, it's about the fair marketplace of ideas and all that good stuff. So whatever, dude. Anyway, moving on. But
Oh,
big
absolutely.
shout out to we're definitely pro creator here.
Mhm.
Pro YouTube creator, pro always comes out wrong. It's so funny, but somebody make fun of me that me for sure. But MissClick,
Mhm.
I will definitely be checking out her content for sure because like I'm
Mhm.
down. Like I have opinions left and right and center and even way far out there, and I want to hear more because it's entertainment. Damn it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. And
moving on.
yeah,
Anything
and
to
I'm
add, my
always
friend?
yeah, I'm always just to add on to Miss Click. I believe she streams on Twitch as well as her YouTube channel. Maybe she streams on YouTube. Probably looked into that a little
I
bit more.
think so.
But I'm
Yeah, I
always
think
looking
this is her
for
channel.
yeah, I'm always looking for a good streamer that streams good video game content. One of my favorites is Ray Narvaez Jr. He streams on Twitch and also does uploads his stuff on YouTube. Yeah, he's always very good. So yeah, I was flipping around on Twitch the other day and
Mhm.
I hadn't been on in forever, and yeah, I I just couldn't find anything to watch. So yeah, if you guys are big people on Twitch or YouTube streaming and have some ideas on good streamers, put it in the comments down below. We're always
Indeed.
looking for good stuff, no matter what
Hmm.
it is. Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
I'm
So
I'm gonna call it right here, and I'll be a man of my words. In a year's time, I bet you that Twitter will figure out the video game and supplant Twitch eventually. It seems like Twitch is kind of sort of dying on the vine.
yeah,
I don't know that for sure, but that's kind of the impression. Of course, I don't really go there, but I only have like a couple Twitch creators that I like to watch once in a while,
yeah,
but I watch them on YouTube. I don't watch them on Twitch. But who knows?
right.
The more the merrier, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I'm a tech head, but I'm also a Neanderthal as well. And
Same here.
my Roku TV, I've got YouTube on that, and it's like Twitch. There's not an app for Twitch on Roku, and
Oh,
so
really?
like
Oh,
I have to
wow.
feed it through my PC or one of my gaming consoles to watch Twitch on my TV, and yeah, if I have to turn on another console just to watch something, I more than likely not going to do that because there's more than enough content on YouTube to keep me busy,
Yep.
along with other streaming services.
Yeah, and that kind of brings up a thing about YouTube. They opened up the ability for YouTube creators to at and kind of have a little bit more of like a social community thing. Anyway, but it's all
Yep.
good, all good. More
Yeah.
tools for us to. What do you guys
Uh,
think? Tell us what you guys think about the G4 thing, Frost.
yep.
The rumor mill that we're covering. We'd love to hear from
Yep.
you. But with that being said, we dip into our next story, which is about Star
Yeah.
Trek. Beam me up,
Yeah.
Scotty.
Star Trek. Getting a little extra spicy. Looks like they're getting into the pronoun game
Oh, Jesus
in
Christ.
their
Oh my
one of their
God.
newer comic books.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah. So we're doing
um.
this. All right. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yep. So so first off, there's a thing called the Universal Translator, which would kill this completely. You know, you're talking about different aliens and whatnot. I mean, you're gonna hear in your translator exactly what you want to hear. So there would never be this discussion in the Star Trek universe. But maybe the writer doesn't understand Star Trek, doesn't understand the Universal Translator, or had an agenda that they wanted to overlook all of Star Trek to push forward. I don't know. I think the article also mentions David Mack not going to a convention because of COVID or something. But yeah, the second half of the article is about the COVID restrictions or whatever in Tulsa. But yeah, so this is about yeah, they put the page in there where I guess the Vulcan was schooling people on pronouns and gender identity, which I guess that's I mean, obviously that's nowadays that is a topic for questions, and something that can be discussed in literature, but you kind of have to gear it towards, it has to fit in context with the universe that you're writing in, and you can't take a crowbar and force something into something uh and make it make sense. There's all sorts of wrong here when it comes to the Star Trek universe. And again, this is hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of years in the future. I think they may have gotten past the pronoun thing by then. Once they've got mixed up with the various aliens, and then also again the universal translator. I have to push that
yeah,
forward.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Star Trek is dead. I mean, if it weren't for the fact that we covered Strange New Worlds, I would have a much
Yep.
more sour and negative opinion. And obviously, my facial reactions and everything else. Like, I don't. You don't want me to show up. That's all I can say. Like, if it weren't for the goodwill that Strange New Worlds happened, like, I'm not doing this.
Yep. Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
And,
Nobody cares about
right.
this. Like, nobody truly wishes ill upon people that use different pronouns or
Right. Absolutely.
are who they are born as, and
Yep.
society accepts them therein. No, I love those people. You love those people. We love
Yep.
those people. Nobody has
Mhm.
a problem with this, but here we are. We can't tie our shoes
Yep.
for tying them comically to a dynamite stick and then
Mhm.
walking and then being surprised when half our leg is missing.
Mhm. The
Like,
one
oh my
of
God.
yeah, right. One of the wonderful and beautiful things about science fiction is you could take current current topics, current issues, but use it in that universe and weave it in a way uh, that that isn't obvious, that poses more questions, maybe even ask more questions than are originally built into the issue. You can blend it out and again have m- many people read it and maybe understand exactly what you're getting at. Maybe pull out different things. The art should be something that gives out many things to many different people. People should be able to invest it. Whereas, if you take something and preach in your work, that's fine, but you're taking it down to a singular dimension. And
Right.
again, you're preaching, and usually when you're preaching to a certain audience, and it doesn't invite other people in. Whereas if you work it into a narrative, into a story, that someone wouldn't normally be exposed to the way you think, if you blend it and make it understandable in a way, maybe you bring more people to you, as
Right.
opposed to kind of blasting it out there and telling the audience what to think.
Right.
Yeah, that's
But
different. That's the difference between going to an art museum and looking at a painting and looking at it and drawing out what the artist, you're trying to figure out what the artist is trying to tell you, what you're feeling about the painting, as opposed to then stepping outside the art museum and then there's this um um a sheet saying, saying that they're protesting something, that tells you exactly how they think and how they want you to think.
right.
Whereas art should be something like in the museum, in the painting, that you could draw what you want from it.
Right.
And and maybe you pull out exactly what the artist is trying to convey to you. Maybe not, but that's the beauty of art.
Yeah,
And
this
not
goes
not
in.
not that
Yeah.
the Star Trek comic book is ever going to be considered a work of
No,
art.
no, but what you just said is exactly, I think, the crux of a lot of conversations and where they lead modern day. And we cover a lot of YouTubers and whatnot that run across this more often than not. And unfortunately, we have a controversial prone society where, or whatever, like where you are absolutely hit over the head with a bat, and you are told what to think or what the main idea is, with exposition that directly leads to point A. There's no point B, there's no point C, there's no point Z, or whatever. Like, whereas things that last, and we covered this in our main show before, and it keeps coming up again and again because they do this so terribly, where you have to leave space for the audience to think and feel, and they completely jump over that and they just get to the end result, and that is not how good entertainment lasts. This is the thing of, like, I absolutely agree with you, and I can only underscore it and exclaim it more of how you said how art is. That is how good art is, and art is like that, to where you're invited in, and what you say is they would draw far more attention and audience if they open it up and let people think and breathe and whatever, other than just being hit over the head again and again and again. And I can say this is true personally from, and I'm not going to get into details specific to me, but like where you are told what to think, in the corporate world as well as the social world, and people don't like that. People don't like that. I don't like it. You don't like it. You don't be. Nobody likes to be sat in front of a TV like they're 2-year-old. Here you go. We're gonna watch whatever.
Yeah,
No, we're not. I don't want to do
yeah,
that. No, that's not how
yeah.
this
It's
works. It's
and
stupid.
again, I think I've brought this up before, but it's sort of like the after school special type art where there's a message and it's going to tell you it, and you're going to listen and you're going to understand. Where even when I was that age, when it was supposed to be effective on me, I knew exactly what they were doing, and
Right.
usually laughed at what they were trying to do, and because they had no way, they couldn't read the room and couldn't cater it
Right.
to a message. Whereas if you again put a little thought into things,
Right.
there's been several, there's been the or there's I don't know if you remember this, but there was a time when we had the sitcoms where they had the very special episode, the special episode where they touched on a sensitive topic, and they got all serious in that episode.
Drug
I think,
use.
yeah, yeah, drug abuse. Yeah, the episode where growing pains, where one of their friends was on drugs, or I don't know if that was the case, but
I
there,
know what you mean. I know exactly
yeah,
what you
yeah,
mean.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
no, God,
So,
God, yeah. You want to talk
so
about our last show, which was thrown into the '80s and generational thing? Like, that is totally
uh,
what
yeah,
happened for sure. Yeah.
right. So we always made fun of that. I mean, that was a message show that hit you over the head with the message, didn't do it gracefully, didn't do it nuancedly. They did it very badly, and that's sort of the writing that the level of writing that we're seeing a lot of times with this stuff. And also another thing, a while back, there there was a big focus on labeling what type of movie it was. Is it horror or is it comedy? Blah blah blah. And there was very big importance on putting labels on everything. Um, and I think it's gotten so bad that now we're having to label people and put them into various things. And my comment at that time was, the only time I need a label is on my soup. I want to know what I'm getting in my soup. That's when a label is important.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't care. I don't care. I'm an adult. I could figure out exactly what type of movie it is, what I want to get out of it. You don't have to tell me. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, that is exactly what it feels like. It feels like uh, I'm not going to use the buzzwords for today, but it really does make you feel like you are a toddler and
mm,
you are doing
yep,
wrong, and this is
right,
how it's going to be, and this is how you got to do it, and like you don't need to tell anybody anything. And I really get disheartened when these things come across and they act like people don't know how to be kind and caring and loving and accepting and tolerant or whatever, because newsflash, we already are. And why
I think that
you put a
says more
target
about, yeah.
on people's back, like when you do this like this, and it
Yep.
artificially enhances limitations and borders that are not there in reality, truly,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
my opinion. But
yeah, and guess what? Those people that do that, that tells us more about them than it
yep.
tells you about us.
Yep. No, it tells you
Um,
to cross the street. Yeah, you see that person coming down the line, you
yep,
cross the street. You don't even
yep,
engage. You don't do this. You
yep,
don't do that. You just cross the street, and then you're on your
yeah,
way.
yep, hmm yeah,
For sure. Yeah, rolling into Mark Hamill here, who going to a little bit lighter side of life.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I brought this up because I wanted to know, Mike, what did you do for Life Day? Did you get your red robe out and hold the crystal ball like a good Wookiee, or
I guess so.
did
I
you
don't
even
know.
did you just let the day pass? It was November 17th. What I didn't get the text from you, with the photo of you and your robe and whatnot. You're slacking. You may have to get kicked out of the nerdom. No, yeah,
Well, I would definitely be kicked out of the Star Wars nerdom for sure, for my lack of attention to
yep,
dogma.
yeah. Now the Star Wars Holiday Special. I saw this live on television. You might have not have been able to see this. Did you ever see like a bootleg of this?
No, never, never, never.
Yeah, I wouldn't I wouldn't recommend it. Red Letter Media did do a I think best of the worst on this. So that I would recommend that.
All
Them
right,
making fun of it. But yeah, I
sure.
mean it focused in on Chewbacca's family. Turns out he has a little brother, a little young brother, that the story focuses on, and he had a mom and dad and a grandfather, and yeah, there was many different musical numbers and whatnot. It's notorious. Never been aired since its original airing. Um, yeah, I think George Lucas claims that there's no copy of it available. So, but it is well known because it did have a Boba Fett cartoon in it, which was its saving grace, and that cartoon is on Disney Plus if you want to take a look at it. And this is a plug because Disney paid us. No, not really. But there's going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, done by James Gunn, which we all love James Gunn since he's going to fix DC for us, maybe. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the holiday special. It comes out November 25th. November 17th is when the Star Wars holiday special came out originally. So that's why they celebrate Life Day that day. So maybe we'll start celebrating Guardian of the Galaxy Day on November 25th. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an hour-long special on Disney Plus. I'm sure it'd be kind of silly and pay some homages to the original Star Wars holiday special.
Absolutely. And just to kind of shout out James Gunn's legacy here, he was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, which is
Yeah.
also this Thanksgiving week also setting the scene for one of the famous ones, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with John Candy and Steve Martin. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah,
Yeah.
rolling back to this. No, I never saw that. I didn't even know it existed up to this point with the holiday special. But I did see some positive things for this, and it might be something
Mhm.
cute to put on with the kids and enjoy because when Disney does it right, they know how to make the family gather around and not divide them as it
Mhm.
were for whatever. But this is the time of year like where you gather around, uh, and I echo your take to follow up to Red Letter Media and watch their download of this particular phenomenon.
Yeah.
For sure. With that being said, looks like we go in from we go in from fantasy to cold-blooded murder.
Uh, did you ever see Hannibal, the TV series?
I did not. No.
There's 3 seasons of it.
Okay.
Highly, highly, highly recommend
Recommend. All
the
right.
series. It's basically what they do is you have the books by Thomas Harris. You have Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, um, uh, uh, was it Hannibal? I think it was
Mm-hmm.
the third book. But yeah, so
Sounds
there's
right.
there's several different books. Basically, what the series is, it takes place before Red Dragon. It takes place about the 3 seasons kind of leads up. Well, the first 2 seasons leads up to Red Dragon, and I think the Red Dragon is covered in the third season.
Okay.
Um, and it's a different take on Hannibal. Wonderfully performed by Mads Mikkelsen. He's a great Hannibal. I think I even love him better than um, Anthony Hopkins. I'm trying to think of Manhunter who played him, Hannibal. But anyway, Mads is great. But yeah, the reason it's stupid, this article saying that I guess they created some daddy issues with with Hannibal in some Twitter thing. But the last paragraph says that they're still trying to get the show back and do a fourth season for it. So
All right.
I would love to have the third season kind of ends on sort of what exactly happened kind of thing.
Mm.
And I won't spoil it for those that want to see it, like Mike. But yeah, highly recommend this series. I think it's all on Netflix, which is I think it's gained a whole new audience on there,
Awesome.
and so I think a fourth season would do very well. Um, Mainly because I want to see it, but yeah, there's sort of a tension between the detective, I forget his name, in the series. He's the main character in Red Dragon. That's hunting. So yeah, the first couple of seasons is Hannibal Lecter's loose. He's not caged. It's about the FBI agent tracking
Will
Hannibal. Will Graham.
Will
Will
Graham.
Graham is
Yeah.
the character. Is tracking down Hannibal Lecter, because that story of Hannibal Lecter getting captured wasn't really told in the books. So this is sort of like the prequel and kind of covers that. And there's sort of Will Graham in Red Dragon and Manhunter. They kind of focus in on how Will Graham kind of thinks like a serial killer. Kind of gets into their minds and kind of becomes close to Hannibal. Whereas the show also explores that, and there might be, once Will meets Hannibal, there's kind of a tension and maybe even a kind of a sexual tension there. That's sort of up for debate. It's you definitely could read that in.
Sure.
Um, and that's interesting. I was kind of fascinated by it. They don't do it for the lulls, as the kids say. I mean, it's kind of it's well done. It's well done, no matter how you want to read it. It's well done in well written show, well directed. I guess I've run on a little too long for this, but yeah, I definitely recommend, and hopefully we'll see more of this. And Mads does say in the article that he's down for I think most of the cast is down for a new season. I think
Awesome.
they really enjoyed doing it.
Well, I need to check this one out. This is
Mhm.
hopped up to the watch list for sure this week.
Yep.
Cool, cool. Cool. Moving on, we have Westworld. Luke Hemsworth breaks the silence on the series cancellation because Westworld was canceled.
Yeah.
And the rip up that Zaslav came down, zipped up
Yeah.
some shows and let
Mhm.
some loose, let
Yeah.
others not so much.
Yeah. Damn you, Zaslav. Yeah. Yeah, they say you're for Zaslav until he knocks down one of your favorites, and then you go against him. But no, I understand it. It wasn't a hugely popular show, and yeah, the audience that it did have lost quite a few of them on the third season, and I don't think they came back for the fourth season. It would have been nice to do the fifth season, which was going to be their last season. So it would have been nice to have kind of a cap on it. So you know that's lost. But I did see an article before we went live where Zaslav said that he's willing to sell off properties that they've canceled to other streaming services.
That's good.
So who knows? Someone else might pick it up. I know that in the article I read there, it does say that most of the main cast had a contract where they got paid for the fifth season even if it didn't get filmed. So
Well,
they're getting a free check anyway, a nice little check without
sure.
doing any work. So yeah. But yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. I would have loved to see a fifth season. I wasn't real thrilled with the third season, but really liked the fourth season. So,
Okay.
oh well. There's other stuff to watch out there, but yeah, it's kind of sad to see that it's been canceled.
Yeah, I saw through season one, and I never really got into season. I didn't really, not for that I liked it or didn't like it. I just never got around to watching season two, three, four, whatever, blah blah blah. But even still, it would be cool to kind of trek through this again and see it from top to
Hmm.
bottom. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I
Hmm.
mean, I like season one. It was compelling enough to keep an interest in. It was one of the
Yep.
rare shows that I kind of made sure I kind of followed along, kind of sort of loosely.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
maybe Netflix will pick it up or somebody else will pick it up and they'll do it justice. Hopefully, I mean that would be the ultimate.
Yeah.
Um, that has happened before with The Expanse. Sci-Fi canceled it season three. Amazon Prime picked it up, and we got the beneficiary of on through through the end of it. Whether you like the end of The Expanse or not, and maybe one day we'll come back around and cover that maybe. But in any case, I think that breaks us into our your comic book recommends for this week.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I had a few. I know. I mentioned last week that I'd skipped a previous week on my comic books. I had a big pile of comic books to read last week, and I was in the midst of reading them when we recorded our live grab bag last week. If you missed it, we've got it
Yep.
recorded under our live tab. It's done quite well for us. We kind of celebrate our year anniversary on that episode, and I talk about a little bit about the Barbarian movie that I recommend. But yeah, check that out if you can. But yeah, this is the comic books that I got last week that I'm recommending this week. There's Gold Goblin, which is written by Chris Cantwell, which we know from *Halt and Catch Fire*, that TV show, and he's recently written Iron Man. He wrote a Doctor Doom series, and he's currently writing a future story on Namor. But yeah, Gold Goblin. Guess who Gold Goblin is? His identity.
Ooh,
It's
maybe an Osborne of some kind.
Yep, yep. It's Norman Osborn. He's I know he died off as Green Goblin back in the day, but he's come back, and he's the Sin Eater has removed his sins from him, and he's reborn as a good guy. He's wanting to do good. He's working with Peter Parker now. He's developed a special Spider-Man outfit for him, all tricked out with some technology, and he's also got his own costume in this gold get up. And he did save Spider-Man in a previous issue, and
Okay.
and people knew it was Norman Osborn, so they started calling him the Golden Goblin, Gold Goblin, and he dislikes it. He doesn't want to be called a goblin, but it's kind of stuck to him now. So this series, I don't know if it's a limited series or if it's an ongoing series, but it kind of spins up the big epic event called Dark Web. Kind of cheesy name, I think, but it's going to deal with the clones, Ben Riley and Madeline Pryor. From Ben Riley is the Spider-Man clone, and Madeline Pryor is Jean Grey's clone. They're
Okay.
going to match up and take their revenge on Spider-Man and the X-Men. So it's going to be a combined event with them with Dark Web, and Gold Goblin is kind of leading up to that. And Norman Osborn is dealing with if he's a bad guy or not. He's dealing with his past. Very well written. I really enjoyed this first issue. Chris Cantwell continues to be a great writer, and I definitely recommend it, especially if you're kind of interested in the Norman Osborn character. Very well written, and again, this is going to go into the Dark Web event. So if you're already a big Spider-Man X-Men fan, this is right up your alley.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. And then we go on to Stargirl. I'm not familiar with this character at all.
I'm not either, but it's written by Jeff Johns, which is a big name in DC. He's also worked with the movies and the TV shows. He but yeah, he's a really great writer. He wrote the the Watchmen miniseries Doomsday Clock
Mhm.
a few years back. But basically, this character kind of ties into the Justice Society of America, the JSA.
Mhm.
So this, I'm recommending this with that one shot I think I gave you, which is the JSA. It seems like they're all kind of combined together. Not that, yeah, the new golden age. This one's sort of a kind of a time traveling issue where it kind of goes from present day to the future to the past, dealing with the Justice Society of America
Okay.
characters. And Stargirl is related to one of the members of the JSA. So he's writing this, which is a limited series, very well written. I'm not familiar that much with the JSA or Stargirl, but it was very well written. I understood the storyline, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed that one shot, and this, I think either next week or the week after, um, Jeff Johns is starting a new JSA title, a Justice Society of America title,
Very
along
cool.
with the Stargirl, that I'm going to pick up as well, based off of these two issues here. But yeah, I'm very excited. I know Jeff Johns has kind of been shut aside with the movie and the TV stuff. He kind of got brushed aside with Snyder and all that crap. But
Right.
their loss is our gain in comic books. He's kind of refocused his talent back on comic books, and some great stories. Definitely recommend both of them, and I recommend the upcoming JSA title that's coming out here in a week or two.
Very cool. Very cool. I'll have to check that one out. I'm fascinated from Black Adam, learning more about GSA and some other things they're in.
Hmm.
For sure.
Yep. Yeah. definitely. And then to continue my love for Jeff Johns, this is his image title, Junkyard Joe. This is sort of part of his multiverse that he's creating on Image. But basically, this second issue. You should also grab that first issue. This is a really good story. It's about Muddy Davis, who's a comic strip writer, the Sunday Funnies, along with Calvin and Hobbes and Peanuts. He writes a little comic strip about boot camp and a wacky robot that's going through boot camp with the regular Joes, and oddly enough, it's based off his time in Vietnam, when he was sent off on a kind of a suicide mission, and it turns out one of the members of that group, of his platoon, the newest recruit that was joined them on this mission, turned out to be a robot. His skin gets blown off. They find out he's a robot, and him and Muddy Davis are the only ones that survive that mission. They come back. The robot gets shuttled off, and parts unknown. And Muddy Davis comes back, starts his comic strip career, becomes big and famous. And this is at the tail end of his career. He's an old man. He's retiring, and that robot Junkyard Joe shows up on his doorstep, and there seems to be some other robots that's trying to track him down. So that's all we know at this point with the second issue. Very interesting, very well drawn by Gary Frank, a great artist. Um, can't go wrong with him. Top quality writing with Jeff Johns again. Highly recommend this. I think it's not your typical superhero comic book. It's not, because it doesn't have doesn't have any capes in it. But yeah, it's if you're looking for something a little bit different, well written, definitely recommend.
Awesome. And with that, we go to our Fantastic Four #1. Didn't you talk about this one a little bit ago?
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it, because I hadn't read anything by Ryan North, but he's the creator of Squirrel Girl that I wasn't really into. But I thought, well, it's Alex Ross cover, a beautiful cover. Might as well just pick it up for that. It's issue #1. Worth getting an issue #1 of anything. So I went ahead and tried it. This story, the first issue, kind of focuses on Ben Grimm and his wife Alicia, the blind girl that you may remember from old Fantastic Four, and they go into they're on vacation. They're traveling around, and they end up in this kind of a weird town where it's sort of like Groundhog's Day, in that every morning that they wake up, everything seems to be resetting. It's kind of it's a fun story. And from the way Ryan talks, and there's like a sort of a at the end of the book, there's he does a little article just basically saying that he wants to get back to the fun adventures of the Stan Lee Kirby stories, where it's sort of it's kind of fun stories with this group of people. Not any kind of heavy-handed stories. They're going to be kind of fun sci-fi adventure stories that tell a fun story. With I think his idea is that each issue will tell kind of a individual story, maybe one or two issues. So yeah, the first issue was very fun. Kind of got back to the core elements of the characters. And then at the end of it, it kind of gives you kind of a foreboding as far as what's happening with the other members of Fantastic Four. So I definitely recommend it. Give it a try. It's a fun book. Like I said, it's not heavy. But yeah, it's a fun kind of Twilight Zone-y type story that kind of keeps you guessing as far as what exactly is going on here.
Very cool. Very cool. And that comes up to our first Technology. Did you do this one? Sorry.
Yeah, I did.
For a recommendation, that is
Yeah,
so funny. I just
YouTube.
got through like a whole rabbit hole feed of following this guy's content.
Yeah, okay.
So funny.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, he pops up on my recommendations every once in a while. He even if I don't think I'll be interested in what he's talking about, if I click on it, within a minute, I'm deep into what he's talking about. He has a
Absolutely.
way of yeah, he likes diving into old tech, new tech. I really enjoy his stuff on old tech. Like he did one a year or two back about the old DVDs that I think it was DVX that Disney did,
Yep.
where once
I
you
saw that one.
open it
Yep.
up, yeah, if you open it up, you only had 24 hours to watch it before it
It-
kind of self destructed. Yeah,
right. Yep.
and so he had a couple of old ones that he saw whether or not if those were still good or not. Which that was a fun episode. Yeah, there's like I said, he has a way of breaking down technology to the layman's terms to where you understand it far better than you thought you would. Yeah, and he has a very soft and welcoming demeanor. Um, really just love watching his stuff.
Yeah, he is a very good you wouldn't think that you would be drawn in, but you are. And I have
Yeah.
definitely been drawn into him many
Hmm.
times way before
Yep.
now. That's one where I'll start watching it, and then like I'll watch like two or three if not more.
Yep. Yeah, because you
I
watch
just
that and then you go, "Oh, well, that one looks interesting." You
Yep.
click, yeah, it's like a bag of chips. You just keep keep consuming it. Yeah. There's certain
Consume.
yeah, consume. Yeah, there's and that's what YouTube loves with their logarithms. But yeah,
Consume.
yeah,
Yep.
just watch. Yeah, so yeah, he's definitely entertaining. And then yeah, this is our cringe corner. I'm jumping up in our cringe corner here. I know you're a big a gamer, Twitch streamer, like we said before. You're big on I show speed, right? He's the biggest and baddest, newest popular streamer, I show speed, and then our guy CoffeeZilla, which we talked about a few episodes back on our recommends. He
Yep.
also did a but yeah, he talks about how Ice Show Speed did a recent stream where he spotlighted sort of a scammy, allegedly scammy cryptocurrency company, and he thought he was on mute at one point, and was discussing it with the scammers allegedly, and said some things that he might not have wanted out there, and his audience, which is younger. He couldn't fool them. As soon as he started streaming with these guys, the the chat was filled up with scammer. I can't believe you're a scammer. And this has followed him on his future. After that,
Good.
he's been kind of dogged with people screaming scammer at him in his chat ever since he did this. I think he did sort of a an explanation slash sort of apology, which wasn't really apology. Uh, but uh, but yeah, and I think he's either seven. CoffeeZilla says he's about 17 or 18, so he doesn't at this point. He probably doesn't know any better. Obviously, he has room to grow and get past this. This is probably just a kind of a learning bump for him, which I'm sure he'll grow and get past. But yeah, it's still very cringy. I thought I'd throw that into our cringe quarter. Shout out to CoffeeZilla for pointing this out to us. He also has done a great job of following the whole FTX scandal and all the ins and
Yep.
outs. And so if you're kind of confused and don't know what we mean when we say FTX,
Mm-hmm.
check out his channel and watch some of his videos on it. He does a wonderful job as well of breaking these things down. I'm totally not into finance. I'm not into cryptocurrency, but I
Right.
love CoffeeZilla and his channel because the drama that these crypto people get into is highly,
Good
highly
God.
entertaining, highly
Good God.
entertaining, and
Yeah.
the wild west, and yeah, it's great content that CopyZilla provides us with that.
Yeah, my brother and I talk about we kind of like make fun of the crypto bros here and there,
Hmm.
but like
Yep.
the guy the head guy for FTX looks, and if you know what I'm talking about, you don't need to know anything about the scandal or whatever or FTX or whatever, but you if you see a picture of this guy looks exactly like the kind of crypto bro that would totally walk up to you cold in a bar and start talking to you about like crypto and blockchain and how awesome it is and like, yeah, sure, guy, get away from me, I want to enjoy my beer. Not lose my
Yeah.
hat for sure. But anyway,
Right.
yeah, that brings us up to, I think we're going to save the more positive thing at the very end.
Okay. Yep.
I think you know what I'm talking about. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of say like a shout out to, this is one of the YouTubers that I was turned on to from watching the last several weeks of Midnight's Edge. Valiant Renegade is typically on their panel. And I've kind of been watching him for like the last several weeks now. And boy, if he doesn't have a good take on kind of like more of a back of the box kind of nerd for movies and whatnot, that I just for whatever reason I find fascinating, especially with like not just surface level takes of like Doomcock or something like that, but more or nerdrotic, like what he's a little bit more middle ground into like criticism for this and that. But anyway, all those folks kind of hang out and pal around. But Valiant Renegade is one that I recommend just
Hmm.
for general takes about pretty much any kind of modern IP that moves through. He'll kind of
Hmm.
you will be better off from the standpoint of education to learn, like kind of like after you see a few of his videos, you kind of understand how box office works and historical trends, and like he has his own take for sure, but it's not sharp at all. It's more like aligned with reality than anything else. Like then
Hmm.
political, it has nothing to do with any of that. It's just like more if you're interested by how this works or that works, watch a few of his, and sure enough, you'll kind of like be like, oh, okay. Well, that explains why they picked that dumb direction,
Hmm.
or maybe indicates why. But in any case, that would be my recommendation for YouTube this week, to piggyback on yours. But and end the show with a good positive note.
Hmm.
This was kind of like on the line of like we weren't quite sure, and
Yep.
I think I disagree with you that they would renew this or not, because we were kind
Yeah.
of like left out to hang to dry. But like sure
Hmm.
enough, they decided that it was a good thing and to
Hmm.
renew.
Yep. Yeah, I was being the negative Nancy, the bad cop on this, saying I don't know if they'll renew it, but yeah, you were saying no, I think they will. And
Yeah.
4 months after they premiered it, they've renewed it. So good for them. I'm looking forward to season two. Again, there may be some decisions that they made for this first season that I wasn't 100% behind, but
Right.
the writing is quality. It's based off the comic books. It's very closely based off the comic books,
And that's
to a nth degree. And those
yeah.
those that actually complained about stuff, saying it wasn't like the comic books and complained about stuff that was actually in the comic books, makes you realize that some of them maybe didn't read it or just
Right.
misremembered the comic book.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's yeah, not it's the comic book and the show, maybe not for everybody, but I enjoy it and look forward to season two.
Yeah,
And
and this is
I
one
think
that
we've
I
discussed. Yeah, I think we've discussed maybe reading maybe the first issue and watching the
yep,
first episode and doing
yep.
a critique critique and a discussion over that, how well they maybe adapted it.
Yeah, I think Sandman is going to be on that show, and what we're talking about is bringing back our third show on Fridays, and I think this is prime
Hmm.
territory for like what we'll cover right off the bat because
Hmm.
this is a case in point where as long as you are, yes, there's a certain license and allowance made for shifting genres or shifting media, but at the same time, aside from Neil maybe keeping his lips a little shut on
Hmm.
Twitter or at large,
Hmm.
when it comes to attacking the fans, if you just chill out and like let people be, I think that we would find traction there. And I think this is like the one of the things that, like, from your recommendation, we will
Hmm.
definitely get into and cover because this is good content.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
this is the rare line where we're right on the line of like, don't fight with the fans too much anyway, because
Hmm.
he already does, and that's fine to a point, but
Hmm.
don't do it at the expense of your future. So
Right. Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. So I'm always happy to
Yep.
see good things renewed.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you had called this
Yeah.
out like to where, hey, check this out. This is worth watching and following for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, and to be honest, the way he acted towards the fans, it kind of turned me off and made me less
Right.
interested in seeing the show. My love for the show or for the comic book led me back to the show, but yeah, it did not do him any favors doing that, and who knows how much it affected viewership? Who knows? But in any case, one of the creators I like and listen to, I guess there's an app called Freedom that allows you to lock yourself out of your phone, which I guess if you have impulse controls as far as getting on Twitter or checking emails or whatever, that he has that app and he does lock himself out of it so that he can focus and work on writing his comic books and doing his thing. So yeah, that may be an idea for some creators out there that are obsessively on Twitter. Maybe you lock yourself out of it for a little while and then see see if that helps.
Absolutely. No, I think that's good advice. And
Hmm.
with that being said, we come up to the end of our show. And again, shout out, go check out our live stream main show where we cover not main show where we cover our grab bag. Last week, Wednesday, we did that live. It was very successful. We were very surprised at it, and we continue to roll on. And also check out our
Hmm.
last show, which is the we cover the Burbs and Matinee. But in any case, and of course our 1 year anniversary, where we cover Dune and all good things therein. But with that being
Yep.
said,
Oh, and
we,
our community tab is active now. I did our first post on our
that's true.
community. So yeah, that's active. You can get on there and say hello to us. We'll try to update that every now and then. If there may be something that happens during the week that's timely and we want to get it out there to the
Absolutely.
fans, or maybe there's something that maybe isn't something we can focus in on grab bag. Maybe it's some random meme that we like. We may
Yep.
throw it out there. Comment on it and say what you want to see on our community tab because hey, it's the community, it's you guys. So
Yeah.
I know you all are shy, so it may take a little while to get you talking, but yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With that being said, I've been Mike.
I'm Thomas, and grab bag forever.